Hello everybody, happy Friday. That little rock looks pretty happy. It's a pretty nice day today for late January. It's in like the 40s, even though there's some snow on the ground. And today I went up to Danbury to go see the one and only Hearthstone castle. Let me give you a minute just to appreciate its majesty. So this is the abandoned old Hearthstone castle. Way back in the late 1800s, there was a portrait photographer named Sanford or some shit like that. Sanford, and he was a portrait photographer, and this is back in the olden days when, the cameras were really old and big boxy things, and you had to sit really still for like a minute to like get your picture taken. So being a really good photographer back then, it's very prestigious. And he was from a rich Danbury family, and he made even more money in this photography business, and he built this castle. And originally it was called Sanford Castle after him, but rich people, they get tired of their toys, and over the years he tired of the castle and he sold it to a variety of Connecticut rich industrialists. This is during the Industrial Revolution, so you couldn't throw a stick without hitting some sort of rich titan of industry looking for a mansion. And over the years, it got sold and bought and sold and bought. And eventually, the Jennings family was owning it. And the Jennings family, they're a big Connecticut family. There's lots of stuff named after them. They were real rich. And they lived here from like the mid 20th century, or like the early 20th century, all the way up until the late 80s, the mid to late 80s. The Jennings family had someone living in this house. And I guess they eventually got tired of living in it, so they donated it and all this land. This is Terryville Park. They donated the castle and all the land and the Terryville Mansion, which is another nice mansion in this park. Or this one's not so nice. The Terryville Mansion is actually not a ruin. It's a nice mansion. They have weddings there and stuff. But they donated it to the city of Danbury, which you can see over the hills over there. We're above Danbury right now. And, sensing this amazing gift, this beautiful architectural treasure, this really cool castle, the city of Danbury returned the favor to the Jennings family for giving them this wonderful gift, and they neglected it for the past 40 years, and it is soon going to be demolished. And you can see they've already been plowing the path up here for the big destroyer trucks, the cranes, and the wrecking ball. And they're gonna come in and they're gonna smash the whole thing down, which is a real shame. But let's take a look around the old castle and let's see what's going on the eve of its destruction. For 40 years, this castle, there was vandalism, still is a lot of vandalism, as you can see. Someone very brave to walk up there and write love on top of that stable platform. But lots of vandalism, I think some arson, lots of smashing and bashing, clearly. And they've tried over the past 10 years. They've been fighting. They've been saying, oh, we should fix it, oh, we should destroy it. And I guess the destroy it people finally won, because it's getting the axe real quick. But it would have been nice if they could have preserved it, but I'll show you in a sec. The inside is pretty rough. There's not going to be a lot of fixing that. But look, they got an old-fashioned radiator smashed right through everything. So, like I said, originally the castle was called Sanford Castle after Sanford, who built it originally. But over the years, the the rich people, they would change the name. It was Buck Castle after, you know, some Buck guy who owned it, and it got called Hearthstone Castle because it was made all out of stone, like you would a big hearthstone in the back of the fireplace, a big rock to keep the heat from your fire in an old-timey fireplace. And all these rocks that made up the walls of the castle, they were actually quarried from this very land, this very park. I don't know exactly where they were doing it, but all these rocks came from this land that is now the park. And they actually had built a little railroad to haul all the stones around. And if you think about it, that's actually pretty dope. They built their whole house out of rocks in their backyard. I don't want to walk around too much. These floors are looking a little weak. I mean, clearly other people have been walking around, but we don't know how drunk they might have been. It's fenced off now, but this would have been a very lovely porch, a really nice stone veranda. I mean, it's kind of overgrown now, but you would have had a really nice view of the Danbury Hills, the hills in this part of northwest Connecticut. This part is actually safe to walk on. I tested it before rolling with the camera, because you won't catch old Johnny Dingo making a fool of himself and falling to his death on here, but you got a real good view of the devastation, but also how nice this house must have been back in the old days. You know, it was 3 stories. Look how they had here, you can see just one of the many fireplaces of Hearthstone Castle. There's one, there's the other. You know, the hearthstones of the Hearthstone Castle. Clearly a lot of people have been going in there doing their graffiti thing, but you know, it's sad to see it go. It's sad to think that you know, this old castle built to solid stone, it's been here for many years, and it's just gonna be a bunch of rubble now and an empty lot. I mean, from certain angles, I mean, the ceiling, I mean, you gotta clean that up, but the ceiling looks pretty good. Oh, it looks pretty solid. And then we'll take a quick look inside. Don't want to spend too much time in here. I don't want to get crushed. But this looks pretty sturdy to me. And there's some other people's footprints, so I guess they made it. Wow. A lot of dumb graffiti, I'll tell you that. Some old graffiti too. That guy was like 3 presidents ago. I mean, it's got a really nice turret thing right there. That's the inside of the turret that you can see from the outside. I mean, beautiful old windows. I'm sure way back in the 80s when it was less ruined, it was still more intact. All the devil worshippers and heavy metal kids had a ball of a time making their satanic sacrifices in the castle, the Hearthstone Castle. I'm no structural engineer. I don't know if you really could fix something so damaged this way, but I think it would be nice if maybe they like stabilized the inside, you know, cleared out all this crap, cleaned up all the graffiti, maybe fixed up these porches so you could walk around and you could look through in the window but maybe not go in, because that's safe. You know, that's not safe, I mean. But, you know, it's gonna get the axe any day now, and it's real sad to see her go. But beautiful old Hearthstone Castle. I don't regret the rules I broke. When I die, bury me in smoke. Someone can't spell, but this spells the end for historic Hearthstone Castle. Sad to see it.